Howdy everybody, Wildman Willie here on an idyllic, beautiful day at the very end of May. And today's task, we're going to put front brake pads on this 2020 Mitsubishi Mirage G4. She's got 24,000 miles on it. Haven't had any brake problems yet, but these are some really small pads, and I don't expect them to have a particularly long lifespan as a result. Also, this car has been heavily loaded much of its life, and I have asked it to stop from high speed. Couple that with my chrome hubcaps, which, you know, they're going to act like that Hot Pocket crisping sleeve when you put it in the microwave. So, them brakes is probably way more cooked than they should look at 24,000 miles, but we're going to find out right here together. I looked around and I really didn't see a brake job video on these. It should be very simple, basic, and small. We're going to dive right in, you'll learn right along with me, and we're going to knock this one out super quick. Let's do it! Before we get too far along here, let's take a second to talk about these Bendix ProSpec Plus brake pads. This is a private label package, somewhere between their Priority 1 ceramic and their Stop ceramic product. It's an excellent product, and of course, I get high on my own supply. This is what I prefer to install in your car these days, the ones that say Bendix on it, especially for their copper-free formulations. Several things I like about these pads. Come with hardware, that's not a given these days, but they do come with that. And as you can see, got nice grooving in there to help eliminate dust. Cake mix has nice big thick chunks, and our shim is definitely multi-layer. It's got that rubberized outside on it. You can see that sheening, and it is adhered to the back of the pad so it doesn't flop off and fly around. So I really like that. Couple that with the lack of plastic packaging, they just wrap it in paper. I consider these to be the go-to for brake pads for your everyday driving needs. Bendix Priority 1 is how I normally buy it. This is a private label package, and I saved a couple of bucks. On the back, you can see how they list their shim material as a 3-layer. On this one, the Priority 1 listed as a 4-layer. It's all good stuff, especially for this little bitty car. So, let's get on with the work. Alright folks, so I got the parking brake engaged and I got the opposite rear wheel chalked up good. We're about to put the jack underneath it and lift it, but first I'm going to go ahead and break loose my lug nuts, which on this one are a 21mm. Probably the first time these lug nuts have ever been broke loose on this car. Let's give them a crack. Pop. 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 We're ready to lift. Boy, this one sure is refreshing with its nice tiny light wheels, very easy to deal with. I will note that you should use extreme caution when jacking up this car. It's small enough, wide enough, and tight enough that if you go too high, you will lift the entire side trying to lift just the front corner. In fact, we're close to that. The jack itself is supporting most of the weight. Jack stand is just kissed up underneath there as a safety so I don't bend my pinch welds. So my next step on this one, you can see I got my little caliper stand in place, is to get these caliper bracket bolts loose. Now, are they 14s or 13s today? 14 goes wrench on. 13's too small, so 14 is the correct answer, I believe. I believe. Yep, just want to pull towards me. Yipper. Do that so it'll crash my hand. And up. Got them both. So now they'll just spin out my finger. Keep an eye on which one's top and which one's bottom. As I think this is the entire pin in one piece. I'm exploring this particular brake set myself for the first time as we go. On the driver's side, the bottom side pin does have the rubber pieces. We're going to stand that up. I set that down right there real nice like. The top side. And these are the pin itself. Interesting little caliper setup. Reminds me of the back brakes minus the parking setup on a lot of modern vehicles. It's a little bitty, but this is a vintage rotor. Got some corrosion on it, but my surface looks okay. Y'all know me, folks. It'll get new rotors on it long before they're actually due. See it come out? With my finger. Yep, there it is right there. Be ready to come down. Yep, she's out. All that past the line, and the top one did not have any rubber pieces on my driver's side. So now I should be able to just wiggle slide that caliper right off of there. One pad stays in the bracket and one pad stays on the caliper. Set our caliper right here. Be real nice to that so it doesn't grab my brake hose. And let's see. Yeah, I've seen a lot worse, but it was time to do them in my opinion. Let's weigh and measure that against what's going on it in thickness. Somewhere, but I am early probably. Yeah, as you can see there, not much meat missing off the bone on those. Guess I could have waited. Oh well, newer is better. Original does have slightly thicker. No, that's just dust buildup on it. The shim is very similar design, possibly somewhat thicker on the Mitsubishi original, but I'm going to stare these down real good and see if I can't find who made them, where they were made. We'll clean some things up, and then we'll get back with you in just a second. I went ahead and removed the rotor, and that was real easy to do. It was not stuck to the hub. It just come right off of my hand. So what I want to do here, as these are open, I don't want to go to spraying a bunch of brake cleaner around here where unnecessary. What I want to do is change up my hardware. I'm going to do that one piece at a time, so I'll make sure I get the proper arrangement. Remove that piece. Take my wire brush. We're going to wipe down the area. We're going to brush off the area. I ain't trying to remove metal here. Yours might be a whole lot nastier. But we just want to clean up that surface where the new one's going to go. Grab my new stuff here. And we're going to play the match it game until we find one that is an exact match. Figure out how they go first. Does not appear there is a left and a right in this situation. We'll make darn sure. There appears that. That's going to go on there just like that. Looking beautiful. Nice. And we'll do this top one. Same deal. Just come right off with your fingers. There's a little bit of leaf and nastiness. You can see why I do it. I'm not trying to do too much. I just don't want there to be trash between my brake hardware and my caliper bracket. I want that to be smoothed off each time. So, we'll grab another piece out of the hardware box. As they all same on this one. So it appears, looking at it close, don't see why not. We're just going to clip that in position. That's excellent. Now, there's an inner and an outer pad. And they're pretty easy to identify on this one. Your inner pad is the one with the wear sensor. And what we want to do is install a new wear sensor in the same location on the new pad. So, here's a new wear sensor right here. I only got several of them. All look same quality and spec. I like this one better. It's got some kind of coating on it. We'll use it. I think they gave me an extra with my kit. So we're just going to clip that on. Yep, that is clipped. That is good. Let's see if this other one clips on a little more firmly. Give that just a pinch. Tiny pinch. Tiniest pinch. I want that hardware to be on there just a little bit tighter. Let's try again. Okay, there it is right there. And as you can see, pretty easy to figure out how the pad orients. The crescent should face out. So, I'm going to stick that bad boy in there from this side. Just like that. Yeah, come on. Alright. Now, let's have a look at how this comes out. Looks like it's just going to slide down. You see it has the retainer tabs. So let's see. We'll try my plastic tool. I might have to go get a pry tool. We shall see. We shall see. But I like to use plastic to pry wherever possible, because plastic, when you pry, usually won't make you cry. I am going to go get a metal implement for that too, though. Hold, please. Full hint to put in here. You may find that little to no prying is required if you will simply push in on the brake pad inside the caliper. Then the little studs right here will slide out of their slots, and then you should be able to slide it down out. So simply, rather than prying, or you probably don't have to pry unless it's really gummed up or something, push in and slide out. Again, repeat with me. Learn with the man. Push in, slide out. That's how you get that pad out of there without crowbarring it out. Now, alright, I got a little bit more aggressive tools with me now to pry this pad out of this caliper. We're just going to stick right up underneath there. Well, that wasn't too hard. Up next, and of course there's minimal anything nasty on this one, we're going to dust off the inside of that caliper. Before I go to pushing that piston, I'd like to clean things up. So as you can see, I got my face protection on. We'll try to do this where you can see it. But I just want to gently dust things out of that caliper arc before I push that piston. That's cleaned up enough to begin. Once I've got the caliper in its all the way retracted position, then I'll clean up a little bit more. But next step, remove brake fluid reservoir cap. Let's knock this one up a little bit. Left hand, so we'll use my left hand pusher. That one makes sense to me today. Put this guy in there. That'll help with that. I believe this is going to be the correct cup. Let's see. Let's run her on down. Now, if you don't have one of these fancy brake setups, you should. If you're going to be doing a bunch of brake pads, there's no reason why you couldn't use an inexpensive C-clamp and put over the back of that caliper with your old pad to protect your piston. That would be acceptable. This one will let you do it the hard way if you feel like it. There's nothing in your way. Honestly, this is an extremely nice, simple way to start my day as far as this goes. Alright, so this should be minimal resistance to push this out. Just going to hold on to this. Make sure not to dent up your dust shield. Just close that caliper. Open that caliper. Open says me. That's the end. That was real easy to push. Probably could have done that with just my fingers. I may attempt that on the other side and let you know how it goes. I have been known to open brake calipers totally by hand before. Alright, now that that's closed, and we'll take a minute to clean things up a little bit better. And I am going to shoot a little bit of brake cleanup in there, but not much. I like to keep it off the rubber as much as I can. Again, I might be able to get this unit cleaner than I am, but I like to not chase dust that isn't hurting anything with cleaners that can. I want to make sure that surface is clean, and it is. We're just going to give this a little shot, just to say I did. I'm going to let that dry for just a moment. Before I get any froggier, I'm going to go ahead and install my rotor. Which, somebody has similar marking paint to me. Isn't that funny? Anything I need to clean up? No, not this time. That'll do that and that. Next step, it looks like, is going to be to push one of these new pads into that caliper. So we'll go ahead and do that. So we can wipe off the top of this one though. It's been just a minute with my rag. course, this surface can be cleaned more better once it's back on the car. Alright, let's go ahead and install a pad in it. Did I get one out already? I feel like I did. I did. It's in my lap. So, out facing the top of the arc. Just going to push them in there. And they got little holes. And it's seated. Boy, isn't that beautiful? Now, pay special attention, use special care not to pigtail your brake line. We're just going to slide that right on there. Shouldn't give us no problems doing it. Oh, my little boot came off. Let's get that back on it for sure. One moment, please. Stay. Alright. You go on this way, it appears. Those are critical, those little boots right there. Without them, your brake pad job will go to shit for sure. I'm going to take that back down just a minute. My wear indicator came off. It's probably too mean to it. You know what? I want that pinch tighter, I sure do. So that doesn't happen again. I want that on there real good and tight. So I'm going to grab that like that. Go ahead and give her a little initial pinch. That might have been a bit aggressive. But when I clip her ass on there this time, she'll stay. Make sure it goes on the correct corner and the correct orientation. I have to bend that back out a little bit. They gave me more too. And if you F one up, you got one on your old pad if you didn't go all the way down to the meat. Which you shouldn't have. Making it hard in real time so you can see what you might actually be up against. But you know what? We'll all learn something together. Okay, that ain't coming off of there. That's on there good and tight like I wanted. Sometimes you have to get a little creative and bend on things. Ain't nothing wrong with that. So let's put her back in there. And that was an extremely easy to install brake pad. Let's do it the way we did before. Rotor just come right off. Make sure our clips are in there correctly. Make sure we're happy with everything the way it's going to lay. Pop that in and pop that in. And the rotor will set its position. See, it don't always go just absolutely perfectly here. Yes, I do jump cuts. And I try not to lie about it. Alright, so let's slip this back over. Try to get in position and watch your boots. So that your boots don't be popping off. And that should sit generally in place. Now, this one, there's our bottom slide pin that has our bushings, or not our bushings, our seals. Sorry, I get distracted. I'm not going to use any brake cleaner on this situation. I'm just going to wipe off a little bit of what was there. I got some brand new Prestone brake parts lubricant. Many times these new pads come with a little packet of green snot for me. This time they did not. I do like that though. Alright, let's do it. Oh, the purple. Purple grease, purple grease. Rub that down. Make sure there is more than plenty on that. Get all over the head. Too much is almost enough, and we're going to wipe off any excess real good. So let's just smear that down in Funky Town. Make sure you don't get any grit or shit or tree trash in your brake paste. If you think you might have, wipe it off and do it again. That's the bottom one. We're going to line up the caliper real good, and we're just going to feed that, wiggle, 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 right on through. And barely finger start that in there. Rinse and repeat on the top one. As you can see, there's no rubber pieces on this one. Just going to wipe that off. And we're going to be not scared with the purple brake grease. Give it a shot of that. Purple brake parts, lubricant. Pressed on. Sometimes it's green, sometimes it's purple. Sometimes it's black, sometimes it's clear. We never know what it's going to be. All I have to say is, any brand you want, as long as it says that it is brake parts lubricant. That's the key. Alright. Send it in there by finger. Yupper. And yupper. That's just finger tight. Put the cap back on this to not contaminate it. Take just a moment with my wire brush. Clean up these bolt heads just a little bit, so that they stay nice. Next time I want to access them, they ain't looking like shit. Screw out with here. Then we're going to tighten down with our 14mm. Tight. Tight. Well, let's prove that again. Tight. And tight. Alright. So before I pump this one up, as that rotor will just move, I'm going to run a lug bolt, 2 of them, down on it to center the rotor on the hub the way it should sit. Sure I like everything, and I do. She's looking pretty, and she moves perfectly, and the boots are where they need to be. So my next step, I'm going to return the brake reservoir cap to the brake reservoir. By hand, I'm going to pump this brake pedal until that clamps, until I feel brake pressure. 1, 2. Oh yeah. Good and tight right there, that's what I'm looking for. So now it's a simple matter of cleaning up the rest of my work and marking things. Now that she's all pumped up and happy, let's finalize the work. So we're going to recheck her bolts. Tight. Tight. That's it for that. We're going to knock off any dust that may remain on this situation and make sure there ain't a whole bunch of grease sticking out anywhere. And there's not, so we're good. Now we're going to spray it down. Get the brake clean. Want that to be as dust free and pretty as possible. Nice little wipe. We got it like that. Yep. Put that out there. Yep. Looking beautiful. Once it's tight and right, everything is to specification. That's a critical part of any job you do. Mark your work. A technician who will not mark their work and sign it, did they really do the job right? So what I've done is I marked the bolts where I tightened them to. I'm just here at the bottom of the pad. WJ 5/24. Not as legible as I'd like it to be, but we can do it up here at the top too on this backing plate. WJ 5/24. You can tell I was there, folks. Isn't that beautiful? We got ourselves a set of Bendix ProSpec installed on this car. For the other side, just rinse and repeat. Exact same procedure. Make sure you take your brake fluid reservoir off first. Follow all your procedures. Make sure that your clips go in the way you came off of them. Make sure you identify your pads, which one's supposed to go on the inside and the outside. You really can't get it wrong. Pay special attention to your anti-wear clip. But that's about all there is to it. This is a very simple brake job. Yes, you can do this one at home. You can save a bunch of money by not going to the mechanic. To put it into perspective, this set of pads was under $20. You see what it's taken me? Simple hand tools only. Only other thing I used was the brake caliper spreader tool. And there's a variety of those to none. Okay, you could definitely get away with this one without my complex fancy stuff. So, do your own brakes, follow these instructions, you should be in good shape, but if not, it's on you. Those naysayers out there who will try to tell you that a Mitsubishi is shit, let's see who made the original pads. I believe that reads Akibono. So if you want to do exactly what the OEM is doing when it's time to replace your pads on your Mirage G4, they're using an Akibono ceramic pad set. Although I would say I sure do like my Bendix, it's nice stuff, but there would be nothing wrong with that. I certainly would not pay for Mitsubishi brand. Let's see, friction coefficient was FF, and what we're going back with is HG. So A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So badass, we are upgrading the friction coefficient. Look at that, isn't the alphabet fun? You get done installing your pads before and after your initial test drive. You want to verify your brake fluid level. If your pads were extremely thin, the level might be kind of low. If it was thin and rode that way and people added to it, to top off, it might be overfilled, in which case you might have to dob some out. But in any event, you want that fluid right at the max line with the vehicle sitting on level ground. Give it a little shake if necessary. You're going to want to check this after your first test drive. And this one is a relatively new car, and we ain't going to have no problems here, and I don't think you are either. But after any brake job, I always recommend checking the fluid level before you drive, once per day, for 2 days after service has been provided. Because think of a brake caliper, a hydraulic brake caliper, like a tape cassette kind of from back in the day, right? Now, if it's been playing the same song at the very end of the tape for a really long time over and over again, and then you rewind it all the way back to the beginning, that's when it might break. Same deal with brake hydraulics, okay? That if leaks are going to happen, one of the most likely times for it to do it is right after I've pushed a piston from fully extended to fully retracted. Therefore, verifying your brake fluid level for 2 days after any brake service keeps you alive, keeps you out of trouble, and just gives you good peace of mind. After 2 days of no change, forget it. Shut the hood, treat it as normal. Folks, from a service perspective, and I know I'm biased, of course, as an owner, the Mitsubishi Mirage G4 is the finest automobile ever devised in the postmodern era. It's Spartan, and that Spartan approach to design lends itself to easy service in all possible aspects. As a mechanic, I look over this engine and I can't find any true engineering mistakes or anything that makes me say, gosh darn, why'd you do it that way? No, I can reach absolutely everything on this car. I can identify everything on this car. We could service anything on this car with basic hand tools, not too many of them, and just a rudimentary knowledge of how a modern automobile ought to work. It's a thing of true beauty, folks. Don't pass up on them. If you're looking for something that's not going to let you down, and when it's time for you to do your maintenance is just simple as could be, there we have it. The Mitsubishi Mirage G4, except no substitute. We're test driving the G4, and happy to confirm that what we have is an absolutely silent brake job, excellent immediate bite stopping power, smooth and quiet, pedal all the way at the top like it should be. We have restored, or better than, with my new friction coefficient, the factory stopping power on this car. So I'm super happy with that. Next thing to take a little talk about is break-in period. Now, people will tell you to do 30 from 30. So 30 slowdowns from 30 miles per hour with at least 30 seconds in between. That can be a good idea, or it can be a terrible one. For instance, if you're dealing with a car, you just put new front brakes on it, but the rears are old, this is a good way to smoke things up. If everything's brand new, and that's what the manufacturer is recommending, follow the instructions that have come with them. what I like to say is for the first 125,000 or 125 miles, you want to avoid any hardcore braking events if possible. Now, if you need to stop your car, stop your damn car. But no checking to see just how fast you can stop it. Nothing super aggressive with it. For my break-in period, with my geographic location, it's real easy to just do a drive through downtown Eugene. Speeds are going to be about that 30-mile-an-hour point. There's going to be stops for red lights. So, you know, you'll get your stops in with plenty of time in between to cool at the recommended speeds without thinking about it. And that not thinking about it part can be the difference between overdoing it, overcooking it, and doing a great job. For instance, it's hard to calculate 30 seconds in your head. You might be doing it every 15. You do that, you're going to overheat stuff. So what I like to do is take a casual drive for the car at a low speed environment where there will be repeated slow down and stopping. That's a great place to just make your new brakes seat to the rotors. In this case, it's super simple. My rotors look damn near perfect and the pads are going to kiss in just fine. But there you have it, folks. Thank you for watching. Hope you found the video informative and entertaining. Thank you. Like and subscribe.